Hello again. Today we are going to be setting our jamb and hanging our closet door. If you watched the previous video, I have the jamb already assembled and the casing applied to the hinge side of the door. This door is a right-hand swing and will swing into the closet. Alright, I'm going to rotate this jamb around and set it into the hole, the direction that it's supposed to go. I'm asked often how to determine what the swing of the door is. This is the hinge side. If you put your back against the hinge side, this door swings this direction, which makes it a right-hand door. If it were to swing this direction, it would be a left-hand door. I did have to add some burring strips to the rough opening to get it a little closer to the proper size and give me something to nail to, because my casing just barely covered and actually does not cover at the top, so they're going to have to do some fill and patchwork once I'm finished. I went over the formula for determining your rough opening size in the previous video. For any of you that missed that, all you need to do is take the size of your door. In this case is a 30-inch by 80-inch, which is called a 2.6 by 6.8, and you add 2.5 inches to each of those measurements. So rough opening on this should have been 32.5 by 82.5. Once you get your jamb into position, the first thing you're going to want to check is the top to see how level it is. So it looks like I am just a little bit tall on this side here. So I'm going to take my pencil and mark that along the floor there. It looks like I'm off about a pencil's width, so basically I can just lay my pencil flat on the floor, scribe that line across there, and I'm going to remove that material and check that again. I'm going to use my jigsaw to remove that material. Right on the money. We are ready to start nailing. Now we are ready to nail the casing and jamb into position. The next thing you're going to want to do is check to see how plumb your rough end openings are. I am trying to push this door as far this way as I can so that it centers it up a little more on the closet side. Since the rough opening was oversized, I'm a little limited. I have sides. So I've got this as far that direction as I can get it and still cover the sheetrock. So you want to take your hinge side, the top corner, when you think you have it in the correct position, and we want to tack that through the casing into your stud there. From that point, we are going to plumb down. When you're dealing with a level, horizontal is called level, vertical is called plumb. So if I need to start this way just a little bit. So I like to go from top to the middle. Get that right on. Take your time, make sure it's perfect. Tack that there. I'm going down from middle to bottom. Tack that on there. So you want to check that then on this side of the jam. And make sure everything is looking good there as well. And then you're ready to shim. So I have the shims over here. So we're going to have quite a few shims going in this side here. I like to start with the fat end of the shim first. And we want to shim directly behind where the hinges go. You just want to work those nice and snug. In that position as well. Switch guns. This gun has a larger, longer nail in it, so that we're going to get a much better bite. I like to put nails in where the hinge mortise, and that kind of hides them once the hinge is in place. You can also put nails where your door stop is going to be as well, because then when the door stop goes on, it will cover those nail holes too. So we've got that secured there. We're going to add our hinges. If you had a center hinge, you would also shim behind that hinge as well. This door only has a top and lower hinge. So we're going to move on down here. Double check that before we nail it, just to make sure we didn't over shim. That's looking pretty good, because that should pull back a little bit with the nail in it. I had already checked previously, but another thing that you always want to double check is how plumb it is this direction, and I'm right on the money there. So we are good. We are ready to set the door in position. Move my nail gun out of the way. And then I have the door sitting right here. So it has hinges already applied onto the door. I'm going to unfold that and get them ready to go into place. Bring the door right over here. I'm going to just slightly tilt it position. And then get just one screw in the bottom. With that in place, we're going to bring up the upper hinge, slide it into that mortise, good tight fit. Thank God for magnetic screw tips. And we're going to sink that screw into there. I'm going to grab a couple more screws. I have the rest of the screws installed, and we are ready to set the strike side of the jamb. What you're going to want to do here now is check, make sure the door clears. Want to see our reveal across the top, make sure it's nice and even. Since we're level there, plumb here, it should be fairly square. And then down the side here, looks like we want to maintain that same, it's about 1/8 of an inch reveal all the way from the top down to the bottom. So we look good at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and add shims there. Again, I usually put the fat side of the shim in first. Casing nice and tight, and then wedge this in until it's also nice and tight. So with that in place where I want it, go ahead and add a couple of nails there. Looks like I'll put a nail in here. For the rest of this, it's easier to do inside the closet. Unfortunately, I don't have much light in here, but that should make it even better for seeing the reveal line. So I have the door in the closed position. You can see the reveal line there at the top, and it definitely gets a little wider at the bottom. So I'm going to bring this casing over a little bit to establish that reveal, and that looks pretty good. That's about 1/8 of an inch right there, and I'm going to tack a few nails through the casing. And now we're going to go up to right where the strike is, so we're still a little bit wide there. So I'm going to use the casing to pull that in right where I want it. And then I'm going to tack a few nails through the casing into the stud right there. I have that strike side of the jamb right where I want it, nailed into position, and we are ready to put in the last of the shims. On the strike side, I like to shim directly behind the strike, and then we'll put another set of shims right here at the floor. Place. In this position here, definitely want to put your nails behind where the door stop will be applied, not where the strike hole will be. Otherwise, that might give you some trouble when you're trying to drill for where that strike will be. Right now, this is a blank, so I will have to mortise in for the strike plate. We have a few shims down here at the bottom. That is set. I will cut off the excess shims and I'm ready to apply casing to this bedroom side of the door. This is a flush cutoff tool. It makes it real easy for removing the excess shim material. I have the casing pre-cut and I'm ready to mark it for length. All of the doors in this house have a 1/4 inch reveal. I'm pretty good at sighting in a 1/4 inch reveal. I've seen it so much, I know exactly what a 1/4 inch looks like. If you need, you can always cut a little block of wood at a 1/4 inch and use that for, you just hold it in place and mark your 1/4 inch, and you can use that universally on all the doors that you need to trim. So I have a left and a right. I've squared up the bottom, set that down on the floor at approximately my 1/4 inch reveal there, and then that'll mark the short point of my 45 miter. Same thing over here. And then on the top, I oversized it just slightly, but I've already cut the miter on one side, so I'm going to line that up with my reveal line mark and mark for the other side. I'm going to take that back to my miter saw and cut those 45-degree corners. Here at my miter saw, and so most miter saws are going to have designated stopping points for, especially for a 45-degree. So we just want to slide that over until it locks into position at the 45-degree angle, and then we are ready to cut. Just a little strong of my mark, and then come back and clean that up. Right on the line. To install the casing, I usually work from the left side and work my way around clockwise. Have these all cut to my reveal line. Tack 2 nails at the top and just kind of work my way down the jamb and maintain my top piece and see how well that miter lines up. And I like that. That looks really good. If it did not look good, if I had a gap at the top or the bottom, this would be my one chance to go back to the miter saw and adjust the degree on my miter to accommodate for whatever that gap is. So I might need to take a little less than 45, or I might need to take a little more than 45, depending on how it lines up. But in this case, it looks real good. So I'm going to apply glue and nail that into position. Glue, very important, because this is what's going to keep that from opening back up over time. Where I want it. I'm going to pop 2 nails fairly close to one another. And that's going to keep that good and in position while I do the same thing over here. And I'm going to come back, pull that miter nice and tight, and drop a couple of nails through the top. Looks good. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to do a quick dry fit just to see how things are looking over here. Not bad. I got a little gap on the lower end here, so I'm going to take a little off of this top side, so that'll be adjusting my miter to just a little bit less than a 45 degree. And I'll be right back. Alright, I've adjusted the angle on that cut and it looks good now, so I am ready to nail it into position as well. This board here has got a little bit of a, what you call a dog leg, but I'll get that pulled out once I get some nails in here. First I gotta put more nails in the gun. Alright, I have more nails now. I tell you, if you're gonna run out of nails, it's always gonna be at the most critical point when you really need it. And you're gonna discover you're out. Let's get this back in position again. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tack this to the bottom since it does not want to stay on its own. Now I can force that miter together. Seems to be good. Now with everything in place, the outside perimeter. I'm careful not to nail too close to my miters. I'm going to let that glue set up and then I can go back later and add a few more nails to that. I would show you the process of installing the door stop, but I don't have that material here on site yet, so we're going to have to end this video here. Installing door stops, super easy. Same process for cutting it as the casing. And then it's always helpful to have somebody on the other side that can hold the door in its closed position while you're applying the stop tight to the door. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.